We are back with Bharath. We're talking HC380, and I wanted to address what some people will think is the elephant in the room, which is that HPE this year acquired Simplivity. Those of you who've been following me know that I've spent a lot of time working with Simplivity over the last couple of years and think it's really cool and really like the people there. So I wanted to discuss with you a little about how you see the acquisition of Simplivity changing the positioning for HC380 and what customers should be considering as they're deciding which of these hyper-converged solutions to deploy now and over the next few years.
Sure. Well, first off, I really also like the Simplivity people and the brief exposure I've had with them. One interesting thing, though, if you look at our combined portfolio now, we rarely ran into Simplivity in competitive deals. Their value proposition was built around the best user experience within vCenter and delivering a world-class data path. Ours was all about delivering that user experience outside of vCenter. So those are effectively mutually exclusive circles. So we really never competed much with them. Now, where does it fit in the portfolio? Now we're able to address a lot of the drawbacks people had with Simplivity. Once that deal closed, we spent some time up at their Westboro headquarters, and they went through with us, why they win deals, why they lose deals. And one of the biggest reasons they lost deals is that customers don't want to trust a startup. I'm going to invest heavily in your technology, and then 6 months from now, you're not around. I'm now left holding a bag. So we can put that to rest. Their technology is in safe hands, and it's going to continue to get invested. And it's going to be the underpinnings for our hyper-converged environment moving forward.
And I was just thinking that's one of the really nice matches between HPE and Simplivity, is they're both very engineering strong organizations where the engineers are valued, where the innovation and the technology underneath is extremely strong.
I'll give you one example. We always talk about things being enterprise grade. Some of our competitors, their entry-level offer, replication factor of 2, doesn't give you 5 nines of availability, and they mock hardware RAID. And there were 2 companies whose hyper-converged offers involved hardware RAID. One was Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and the other was Simplivity. And there's a reason we make those design choices. When you take hardware RAID and marry it with some form of network RAID, you're building that availability into the underlying platform. When you have a hard drive fail, you're not in a panic rebuild mode. Your application delivery and performance doesn't suffer.
And that's one of the videos that I did with Simplivity, was we had one of their nodes and we pulled a hard drive out and showed that in the UI, reporting that a hard drive has failed. And then about 30 seconds later, we pulled out one of the SSDs, and again, the UI alerted that there was a failure, but everything continued to operate. VMs were still up. We pulled a second hard drive out, and this was in a 2-node cluster. So we'd failed 2 hard drives and an SSD, and we could have done the same in the second node, and all of the VMs would still have been operational.
And it's all about availability and uptime, right? I mean, we recently had a pretty big outage in a public cloud that happened, and it was down for a few hours. But to tell you the truth, they didn't violate any of their SLAs. They say 3 nines available. That's 6 hours of downtime a year. Going back to your comment about engineering-driven organizations, we wanted to make sure that the customer's data was paramount. And those are some of the design choices that we made. It made such a great fit from merging the organizations because the mindset is really built around, how do I provide maximum uptime and availability to a customer? That's the table stakes to getting in this game. Where we plan on going is through our hyper-converged operating environment, allow multiple clusters to run underneath the same user environment. So anybody who buys in to the HC380, because it solves for their user experience needs outside of vCenter, can know that at some point in the future, that user interface is going to be common. So when we do want to implement the OmniStack data path behind there, we're going to have the ability to do so.
And that won't change any of the operational procedures for those people who are using that self-service provisioning of virtual machines.
Correct. Now, having said that, there's 1,300 plus Simplivity customers today that want vCenter as
their single point of control.
We're not going to mess with that, but we're going to expand the applicability of the OmniStack platform or the Simplivity platform to customers who do want an alternative user environment.
And you're saying before we were on camera also the Hyper-V as an option for the virtualization layer that sits in that cluster.
It's something that's in tech preview right now from a Simplivity perspective. We're going to more broadly roll that out later.
It seems clear that there is a path forward with hyper-converged, that there are options for what sits underneath the operating environment, as well as options to not use the operating environment if you are wedded to vSphere as your interface. That's going to continue to be an option for customers as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't want to mess with what's made Simplivity great. We're taking away, and, it's funny, again, through the travels, we've had these customer questions come up. Hey, we really wanted to deploy Simplivity on ProLiant.
Yes.
But you didn't want to do that last year or the year before.
Yeah, you weren't one of the partners that they announced last year.
Right, so we ended up deploying on an alternative infrastructure. Now that you have it on ProLiant, can we expand our existing clusters with HPE DL380 nodes? The answer is yes. The Simplivity architecture is done in such a way that as long as you match your storage environment, I can scale clusters.
Right.
So moving forward, your existing environments that are running with competitive hardware can now run DL380.
We're going to see DL380 models that match up to the hardware configuration of the OmniStack models.
So yeah, right now we're working on all flash. It's available today.
Nice.
That's where we put our best foot forward, right? The best user experience with Simplivity is with the all flash models. Performance is almost a non-issue at that point.
Yeah, it's another. I have practically infinite storage performance.
You said that.
Practically. Yes. The reality I've talked about is that you don't need infinite storage performance. You need one IOP more than demand. And it's indistinguishable when you have one more or 100 more.
Well, but what you do find
latency also kicks in.
What you do find out is the first time you write to the spinning media.
Yes.
That's what we've launched. It's available today.
Yes.
And as we build out the roadmap over the course of the year, we're looking at different configurations. Obviously, there's a big server transition happening this year as well. So we're planning on intercepting all of that, and making sure that we have the answers within the Simplivity 380 portfolio, which is what we're calling the HPE Simplivity 380. It goes without saying that anytime you hear Simplivity in the brand name, we can understand what the data path is.
Right.
So that's really our path moving forward. So as you alluded to in a different video, Synergy is the brand for composable. Simplivity is going to be the brand for hyper-converged moving forward.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Bharath, for talking about how Simplivity fits with what's existing and some of the futures. I believe you were a little brave about blogging about that. We will put into some notes on this video a link to your blog post so people can read a little more about that. So thank you again for joining me, Bharath.
No, thanks for having me, Alastair.